Hi, guys, and welcome. And this is an amazing story by Neville Goddard. And he always talks about two personal stories. And this was the story which really touched me and really influenced the way I look at manifestation, the way I look at how you can be creative and accurate with your manifesting and with your goals. So let's get into it and stick around to find out if you want to improve your accuracy. If you really want to know and go deep into what Neville wants to say, stick around to the end of the video and I will give you some excellent tips how to do that. Let's get into the story. So the story is very popular, and Neville talks about these two personal stories, and one of these stories is about feeding the ducks. So I'm going to read the story as if I'm Neville from his perspective. So when I was a boy, I lived in a very limited environment in a little island called Barbados. Feed for animals was very, very scarce and very expensive because we had to import it. And I'm one of the 10 children, and my grandmother lived with us, making 13 at the table. So the food was very scarce and they were a huge family. So of course, buying expensive food was not really easy for them, convenient for them. Time and time again, I can remember my mother saying to the cook in the early part of the week, "I want you to put away the 3 ducks for Sunday's dinner." This meant that she would take from the flock in the yard 3 ducks, coop them up in a small cage and feed them, stuff them morning, noon and night with corn, all the things she wanted the ducks to feast upon. This was an entirely different diet. This is a key point for us to understand if we really want to understand manifestation and how our imagination creates reality. We have to really dive deep into this point. This was an entirely different diet from what we regularly fed the ducks, because we kept those birds alive by feeding them fish. Okay. We kept them alive and fat on fish because fish were cheap and plentiful. But you could not eat a bird that fed upon fish, not as you would like, and I like a bird. So because the fish was very, very cheap, that's all they fed the ducks all the time. But when their mother ordered to put away the 3 ducks for dinner on a Sunday, they were fed a completely different diet, and that is a key point. Completely different diet. So the cook would take the 3 ducks, put them in a cage for 7 days, stuff them with corn, sour milk, and the things we wanted to taste in the birds. And then when they were killed and served for dinner 7 days later, they were luscious, milk-fed, corn-fed birds. I'm going to repeat it again. When they were killed and served for dinner 7 days later, they were luscious, milk-fed, corn-fed birds. A very key distinction, because the birds didn't taste like fish. Key distinction. And Neville talks about, but occasionally the cook forgot to put away the birds. And my father, knowing that we were having ducks and believing that she had carried out the command, did not send anything else for dinner, and the 3 fish came to the table. You could not touch those birds, for they were so much the embodiment of what they fed upon. Okay, so when occasionally the cook would forget about it and the cook would just feed them fish, what will come to the table was actually fish. 3 fish came to the table. So the birds became the embodiment of what they fed upon. The food tasted like fish. That is what they became. They became the embodiment of what they fed upon. Key point to remember. Why is it so important? Why is this point so important? And this took me some time to wrap my head around it, and I felt like, even while making this video, I'm like, I just have had this realization, should I be making this video? I was having doubts about it, and I was like, should I be sharing this with people? Should I be? But I know inside my heart that I should. Because man is a psychological being, a thinker. So it is not what he feeds upon physically, but what he feeds upon mentally is what he becomes. We become the embodiment of that which we feed, which we mentally feed upon. So we become the embodiment of what we feed ourselves mentally feed upon. Now those ducks could not be fed corn in the morning, fish in the afternoon, and something else at night. It had to be a complete change of diet. In our case, we cannot have a little bit of meditation in the morning, curse in the afternoon, and do something else in the evening. We have to go on a mental diet. For a week. We must completely change our mental food. Now this is a key point. When I read it the first few times, I didn't really wrap my head around it. And Neville mentions these stories in so many of his books, right? So he mentions it in 5 Lessons, I think in Consciousness' Own Reality. He mentions the same story in different books. But sometimes when we read the story one time, we don't really go deep into it. But when we read the second time, and probably I was in my evolution, I was a little bit ahead in my evolution when I read the other books, I could sense, I could understand now what Neville was trying to say. Because man is a psychological being. So, and sometimes you will also read that Neville says, die to your old self. And you die so completely that you have no memory of that old self. And you bury that old self in such a way that no one can tell you where you buried it. You can't even tell yourself where you buried it. So he means this is a metaphor, and what he means by this is when you choose to be in a certain state, when you choose to have your wish fulfilled, you completely let go of your previous identity, whatever you held on to. You have to completely die to that self and just feed upon what you want to be. You don't think about something else. You don't feed. Negative thoughts will come, but you don't feed into them. You don't give them energy. And you will feed upon what you want to become. Right? So I'll give you an example. A very simple example. If I want to be a fantastic top level teacher, which I already am at a kindergarten level, I think I'm one of the best teachers that are out there, and all of the people, like some people call me Kindy God, Kindy King, and I really appreciate it. But what they don't understand is, first, the amount of thought I gave behind this, right? Of course I've worked hard and all that, but that was like a byproduct of the thought. But it was the thought. It was first the thought. And I just morning, evening, and night, I just visualized myself being this fantastic teacher. And I went to the end, and I imagined somebody congratulating me and saying that, man, that was an amazing lesson. You're so good with kids. You're an amazing kindergarten teacher. Stuff like that, right? And I visualized myself receiving those compliments. And lo and behold, a series of events happened. I came across some certain trainings. I came across some certain YouTube videos. And I got so many ideas, so many tricks, tips, and I just started implementing it in my class. And I just had this belief. I just knew in every fiber of my being that I'm gonna be an exceptional, like really at the top 1% of teachers in the country, if not in whole of continent. That was my belief, and that is what I thought. So I completely died to my old, not so good, maybe okay, average teacher, and I just embodied the present amazing, fantastic, on point, exceptional performer, exceptional teacher. And I just choose to be and focus on kindergarten level because that's a level I love. It's something I love. And within few weeks, I would say less than a month, I had these incredible ideas in my head. Of course I was reading books and watching YouTube videos, but I had these incredible ideas in my head. And I wasn't like in the morning, oh, I'm gonna be a great teacher. In the afternoon, maybe I'm not so great teacher, right? So that's what he says: meditation in the morning and course in the afternoon. You have meditation in the morning and you're like, amazing, this amazing feeling, this is the end what I want, this is the result what I want to be a fantastic, amazing teacher, make a huge impact, and just enjoy my class, have fun with it, and also have a fantastic class where I impact the kids. And then if I had a bad class in the afternoon, I'm like, oh man, it went wrong, what crap happened. No, I had a bad class. I still held on to the belief. It was not easy. I'm going to say that it is not easy. Sometimes people think that manifestation sometimes can be very simple, very easy. Very simple, very easy. Especially if you don't have any resistance, it's very simple, very easy to do. But when this thought was coming to my mind, I had to remind myself, no, you don't meditate in the morning, curse in the afternoon, and do something else in the evening, right? Meditate in the morning, that's the visualization, that's the vision I have in my head. I'm looking through first person, somebody's congratulating me, I have that feeling. And that feeling, I held on to that feeling. And I could just visualize. I involved all my senses. What am I seeing? What am I feeling? That handshake. When you do something great, you get a handshake, and it's like, that handshake is like a special handshake. When you really perform and you do an exceptional job, and your managers or people you work with, and they're really impressed, it's a different kind of handshake. It's not like this. It's like, well done. And there is like the sub communication behind it. It's like, well done, right? I had that feeling, shaking my hand or looking at the people, looking the glint in the eyes. I'm just involving all my senses. What am I hearing? What am I seeing? What am I feeling? And this feeling of pride and this swelling, this wonderful, lovely feeling of pride, happiness, and also achievement is also inside of me. And I could just feel it. I could just feel it in every fiber of my being, and I held on to that feeling. Even if I had a bad class, and I said, that's okay, I forgive myself, I had a bad class, let go of the resistance. I let it go. I didn't hold on to it. I let it go. And then I was like, okay, next. Again, imagine the same thing. Evening, imagine the same things. I got some ideas, I got some suggestions from my seniors, from my teammates. I watched some YouTube videos, and I started applying all of this, and in a couple of months I received an award, a recognition for my efforts, for my hard work, and so many verbal recognition. I thought I would just get one. I got multiple from so many people. Oh my God, you're so good. You're kindergarten, Kindy King, kindergarten expert, kindergarten genius, all these kind of exceptional praises. And that was like, it was so fast, and things happened so fast. That 1 month went by so fast, and my confidence was through the roof. And this is what Neville means, is when you are embodying that, when you're going into that feeling or into that state, it's all about what are you mentally feeding upon. Okay, if you have any doubts, just say, okay, I have some doubts, that's fine. Don't push them away. It's like, I accept it and I let it go. I let it go, drop the resistance, I just let it go. And it's a big release. Okay, what if I screw up my class? What if I'm not great? I let it go, I let go of the resistance. And then you again visualize, imagine the end, imagine what you want. And you will be amazed by the speed. The more resistance you can let go, and the more you can be in that state of you already having it, the faster you will get to your goal. It is just unbelievable. Sometimes these things happen. It's unreal. It's unbelievable sometimes how these things happen, right? And it really blows my mind. And I was so, I used to doubt it a lot, right? And sometimes you still have those doubts, and maybe this doesn't work. Maybe it's all your hard work. I was working really hard for the previous 6 months, but I wasn't getting any better. And when I started imagining and believing in every fiber of my being, involving all my senses, and just going to the end, having that congratulatory conversation, I realized the power of imagination. And there are many books. If you read The Power of Subconscious Mind by Dr. Joseph Murphy, he talks about this visualization, achieving, imagining. He talks about the Olympic athletes imagining that they're winning, they're going for it. And if you read The Power of Intention by Dr. Wayne Dyer, he also says your intent is very important. Okay, if you have read Psycho-Cybernetics, visualization, theater of dreams is the technique which is called. All of this visualization is so powerful. But Neville made it so simple. He made it so simple, and that is why I really admire his teaching. Of course, I read other books, I try to implement ideas from other books, but this is the real power of this story. So think about it. These are the ducks. What are you feeding them? So your ducks is your mind. What is it that you're feeding it, right? You become the embodiment, right? So that is the key. Those birds become the embodiment of what they are fed upon. So whatever you feed your mind with, you will become the embodiment of what they fed upon. And you have to be consistent with your food, right? You can't have milk in the morning and fish in the afternoon and cake in the evening. If you're gonna just have milk and corn in the morning, milk and corn in the afternoon, milk and corn in the evening, so we cannot keep changing our diet. We will have a complete change of diet. Instead of feeding fish, we're gonna eat corn and milk, but that is all we feed upon: corn and milk in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening. If we have any doubts, if you have any resistance, we say, okay, let it go. Okay, if you make a mistake, let it go. Just drop your shoulders. I always remind myself and do this small massage and I drop my shoulder. Okay, if that happens, so be it. When I let it go, and it just drops away this resistance. And when this resistance dropped, I again imagine. And this is the power of imagination. This is one of the stories. So this is the greatest tip I can give you, is to sustain that faith, sustain that image, sustain the thought you're feeding yourself. You have to sustain it, right? Until you have the feeling of complete satisfaction, right? I had the feeling of about 80% satisfaction for a few weeks, maybe a week, the 2 weeks, and I didn't spend too much time in it. Maybe 3 minutes in the morning, 3 minutes in the evening, 6 minutes in total, right? Sometimes I really like that feeling, so I would just stay with that feeling for longer, but it was never more than 10 minutes, never. And I always kept doing that. Those feelings were never more than 10 minutes. I just stayed in the state, imagine it, and then I drop the resistance all the time, and then just imagine being at the end, having it, involving all my senses, having that feeling and that congratulatory conversation, and hearing what I'm hearing, feeling what I'm feeling, seeing what I'm seeing, sensing. Maybe there's a sense of smell, so you can involve all your senses, everything. So this is the key in the first story, is the staying true till the end with your whatever vision you want it to come to reality. And thank you so much for watching this video. If you had any experience like that, please put them in the comment section below. Please like this video so more people can see it, more people can understand my experience. And I'm so excited about sharing this experience because it has really amazingly morphed my life. My life is becoming more and more amazing, and sometimes I feel like I'm in a dream, right? It's all the time. Most of the time I'm doing things which I really enjoy. 80 to 90% of the time I'm doing things which I really enjoy, and I have to give a lot of credit to Neville and his teachings. Thank you so much. Until next time, namaste.